Let's take you back to our other top story now. The High Court in Pretoria has heard that there is a witness who alleges singer Kelly Khumalo shot and killed soccer star Senzo Meyiwa using a gun belonging to music producer Chiko Twala's son. This was heard during the cross-examination of forensic officer Thabo Mosia, which continues today. Advocate Mandisela Tefo, who represents 4 of the 5 accused, alluded to evidence that suggests this scenario. Longo Twala is, of course, one of the people who were in Khumalo's Phosphorus home during the time of Meyiwa's murder. Let's hear how today's proceedings, or more details on today's proceedings, from Slindelo Masikane. Sli, this new scenario now that Advocate Defo is talking about, where is he saying he gets this evidence?
Well, some explosive submissions coming from Advocate Mandisela Tefo, who wrapped up his cross-examination of Sergeant Thabo Mosia earlier this morning, but really wrapping it up with some really explosive, I guess, submissions around what he believes to be the real suspects around the Meyiwa murder. Now, you would remember that in this particular matter, we're dealing with 2 case dockets, 2 different sets of investigations that took place around the death of Senzo Meyiwa. In the one docket, that's the 636 docket, the one that we're here listening to the trial about, involves 5 men accused of the murder, saying that they were the intruders and that they entered the home of Kelly Khumalo's mother, subsequently shooting Senzo Meyiwa. Now, what Advocate Defo is referring to is another docket, another investigation, which points to the suspects actually being in the house, saying that there were no intruders and that the shooter was in the house, the gun was already in the house, and that those who were in the home should be the ones charged with murder as well as defeating the ends of justice. Today, Defo then said that he has an eyewitness who can come and tell this court that Kelly Khumalo shot Senzo Meyiwa by mistake using a revolver that came with Longwe Twala. Let's take a listen.
I put it to you, Mr. Mosia, that witness, not just witness, eyewitness, will testify that Senzo Robert Meyiwa was allegedly shot by a non-Tlantla Kelly Khumalo by mistake, as it's alleged. Do you have a response?
No respond in that, my lord.
uSenzo Meyiwa wajujuka uyena uNonhlanhla Kelly Khumalo ngephutha.
The same eyewitness will further testify that the firearm used to shoot Senzo Robert Meyiwa by Kelly Khumalo came with Longwe Twala, and the firearm is a revolver. Any response?
No comment on that.
So the explosive information keeps coming, Slee. So was there anything else said about Meyiwa's body?
Well, we heard from Defo yesterday how the 365 docket, that's the alternative docket, the other investigation that took place around Meyiwa's murder, alludes to the fact that Meyiwa's body was removed from the scene and he had already died by the time he was transported to the hospital, which he says those who took him there simply to just dump his body there. Now, what else came out today was Defo alleging that in fact they took that body to the hospital because they were trying to prevent Orlando Pirates players from coming to the crime scene, because Meyiwa was actually supposed to be attending an event or a party of one of the football players from Orlando Pirates. So another submission by Defo in terms of the defense, not only saying that the crime scene was contaminated, but that there was that Meyiwa's body was removed in order to basically compromise the crime scene. Let's take a listen.
The same eyewitness will say all these efforts of removing the body from the scene, which is a primary scene, to the secondary scene, that is a hospital. It was all about the furtherance of concealment of the murder of Senzo Robert Meyiwa by dumping him at the Botsilong Hospital. In essence, as I said yesterday, it was literally just to go and dump him at the mortuary out of the hospital, because the people in the house, they knew already that he has passed on. And it was further, as per will be related by the eyewitness, saying that all these efforts were done to avoid the relatives or the friends or the people known to Senzo. In particular, that day, as Senzo Robert Meyiwa was supposed to go and attend the birthday party of his colleague, Mr. Roy Mahamotsa. So, what was avoided? They were avoiding for the Pirates players to come to that house. Instead, they deemed it fit for them to go and visit Senzo at the hospital, as he was. Do you have anything to say?
Nothing to say on that, my lord.
Well, Slee, we're finally hearing from Advocate Slindelo Masikane. What has she been challenging in terms of Mosia's testimony so far?
Well, we're finally hearing from Advocate Slindelo Masikane, who represents accused number 5, and she is coming in guns blazing. She's not holding anything back, and she has begun by going detail by detail in terms of driving the point that the defense is making about the crime scene being contaminated from the very beginning. In fact, she started off by asking Mosia about why he arrived so much longer after he was called to the crime scene, what the delays were, also driving the point that even when he arrived at the crime scene, the door in which the intruders allegedly used to enter the house, he did not take any DNA swabs from that door. He also only, in his initial visit to the crime scene, only took 8 pictures and left, came back. One of the pictures she's been referring to wasn't taken by Mosia but forms part of this docket. So you can see that the defense is just trying to drive the point to the court that the scene was compromised and it was contaminated way before the forensics team could arrive. And so the evidence that could be before it is questionable. Let's take a listen.
The allegations are that the intruder used the kitchen door, opened the kitchen door to enter, to gain entry inside the house. Do you understand that?
I do understand that, my lord.
So you could have found the real results from the door hanging of the main kitchen door. Do you understand me?
I understand, but according to my discretion on the crime scene, the kitchen door is the main is the door that is mostly used in the house. And we decided not to collect any evidence from the kitchen door.
From the kitchen. But it is alleged that the intruder used the same door to enter the house.
That is correct, my lord.
Yebo ke insolo nomfaka no insolo ke zithi lo owangena ke wasebenzisa sona ke leso siqalo.
But you decided not to take any evidence or to lift any evidence from that door handle.
That's correct, my lord.